Imagine Oracle Arena's roar distilled into a single heartbeat. Now imagine it hanging in the balance, suspended by whispers and backroom chess moves that could rewrite the very DNA of Dub Nation's future. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with Splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat, because tonight, we're peeling back the curtain on the simmering drama surrounding one of Golden State's most electric pieces, Jonathan Kuminga, and the high-stakes chess game between Mike Dunleavy's front office and the Sacramento Kings that could change everything. Rumors exploded late Wednesday night, sending sparks flying about a potential sign-and-trade deal that might send Kuminga packing to Sacramento. But as of now, that blockbuster remains tantalizingly out of reach, and believe me, the web of whispers, insider analysis, and conflicting moves is more tangled than ever. Bobby Marks, a savvy NBA insider, laid down the harsh reality. Kuminga holds almost no leverage in these negotiations, shackled by a sparse market and a league-wide financial freeze that's compressing every contract and movement. His only real option? Signing a qualifying offer for roughly $7.9 million, which effectively traps him in a short-term limbo, hedged by uncertainty and NBA's dipping cash flow. Dub Nation, that's a far cry from the splashy multi-year deals the Warriors might be forced into if they want to keep any semblance of trade value on Kuminga next season, something north of $20 million annually to maintain leverage and flexibility. The rumor mill has churned out suitors for Kuminga, but the field is thinning fast. Miami Heat? Once at the forefront alongside the Bulls, but those talks have gone silent. Chicago? Their roster's shifting, bringing in fresh wing depth that diminishes Kuminga's potential role, making them a less attractive landing spot. The Pelicans threw some feelers, but unless they're dangling top-tier assets like Herb Jones or Trey Murphy, which they're unlikely to sacrifice, it's more smoke than fire right now. And at the center of it all, Sacramento, the Kings, with fresh blood in the front office via new GM Scott Perry, a seasoned NBA vet from the Knicks, blazing with determination but playing it cool in this high-stakes game of chicken with Dunleavy. Neither side wants to blink first, because in today's NBA, a botched trade or a bad valuation can cost a GM his job, and both Dunleavy and Perry know that as well as anyone. Matt George, our go-to Kings insider, confirmed that while Monk was once the centerpiece of Sacramento's trade chatter for Kuminga, things have shifted. The Kings still entertain moving Monk in a sign-and-trade involving Dennis Schroeder, but the Warriors, cognizant of Monk's nearly $19 million salary and lesser upside compared to Kuminga, have been cool to the idea of including Monk in a deal, especially without sweetening it further, maybe with Buddy Hield thrown in, which complicates matters and gives the Warriors a solid bargaining edge. That back and forth exposed the fragile undercurrent flowing underneath these talks. Golden State isn't desperate to offload Kuminga just to erase a salary or chase a deal, and they certainly don't want to trade that hands their young phenom straight into the arms of a division rival if it doesn't make sense. Brett Siegel at Clutch Points added fuel to the fire, noting the Kings' clear desire for Kuminga, yet highlighting that no path to a sign-and-trade seems plausible anytime soon. There's no matching of contract terms in place, no deal on the horizon that satisfies both sides, placing this drama squarely in a stalemate, with the Warriors seemingly holding the upper hand, undeterred by Sacramento's attempts to pressure them with lowball offers featuring players like Devin Vassell and Dario Saric, neither of whom moved the needle in Golden State's eyes. Keegan Murray, the electrifying Sacramento talent many thought could be the linchpin of a trade, remains off the table, further proving that the Kings are either unwilling or unable to match Golden State's valuation on Kuminga. Matt George's blunt refusal to entertain Murray's involvement in any trade paints a hard line that could force the Kings to get creative or back away entirely. Yet George also cryptically insists the trade talks are very advanced, a phrase that's dripping with suspicion when the surrounding facts suggest otherwise. Are we on the cusp of a breakthrough, Or is that just smoke to stir tension in the Dub Nation grapevine? Anthony Slater, our Gospel and Warriors insider intelligence, brings sobering clarity. As of the close of free agency's third night, there's nothing close to finalize, with conversations ongoing and fluid in that nebulous periphery zone where nothing is off the table, yet no one's pounding the table to get it done. Warriors are playing patient. They hold the cards, not out of stubbornness, but strategic leverage. They're also waiting on another tantalizing piece, the veteran big man Al Horford, whose decision looms large, eyed by the Warriors as a potential cornerstone to bolster their roster's depth and maturity. The Celtics remain in the mix, but Golden State's push, as Brett Siegel reports, is the most aggressive, with the Lakers lingering and retirement whispers swirling around. Horford himself, a 65 to 70% chance he lands in the Bay Area, seems the talk of the league, though. Warriors fans remain wary, questioning if Big Al's fit matches their championship dreams. The Pelicans, meanwhile, lurk on the sidelines with whispered offers that sound promising but fall short of the mark. Would the Warriors risk trading Kuminga for anything less than an elite piece? To remix the painful memories of We Believe, the dynasty days, and the gut punches of playoff exodus, it feels like the stakes are as high as ever. Mike Dunleavy, stepping into year 3 of his tenure as GM, has promised a vision and a plan. We can only hope it's the map to a new golden age. But the pressure is unforgiving, and patience wears thin on the eve of what could be a seismic roster reshaping. Is this cautious, chess-like approach the quiet blueprint to return to glory, or is it the first crack in our dynasty's armor? As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this, caught in the tension of every trade chatter, and the tantalizing possibility that Kuminga's fate is about to be sealed in the shadows of front offices playing hardball. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty, or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If your heart just skipped a beat thinking about Kuminga's future hanging in the balance like a dagger over Oracle's ashes, hold on to that feeling, because this saga is far from over, and honestly, it might just be the wildest roller coaster ride Dub Nation has seen since the Curry Splash era redefined basketball forever. See, the more I chew on this Kuminga drama, the more it feels like a tightrope walk between genius and disaster for the Warriors front office. Mike Dunleavy, cool as ice but with a killer instinct, is sizing up every piece on the chessboard, knowing full well that a single misstep here could rip apart the fragile tapestry that Igor, Steve Kerr, and that championship core have painstakingly woven since those iconic finals runs. I mean, let's get real. A decade ago, we were watching the Dubs crush defenses on the backs of Clay's unholy shooting and Draymond's ferocious defense, and now we're staring down a roster in flux. Kuminga's raw lightning and bounce, Moody's silent but deadly potential, Poole's quirky rise, the uncertainty of Horford's old man strength or decline. It's a cocktail of hope, questions, and edge-of-the-seat tension. What if this Kuminga trade, or the lack thereof, fractures what's left of that chemistry? We've seen how fast everything can change. Remember how KD, with all his sizzle, came and shifted the balance of power, turning the Dubs into a nearly unstoppable juggernaut, but also how his exit left a vacuum no one was quite ready to fill overnight. That's the shadow looming over this potential move. Because while Kuminga isn't KD, his raw upside and freakish athleticism make him a jewel Dub Nation can't afford to lose, yet it feels like this tug-of-war with the Kings, a team desperate to upgrade their wing but stuck, star-crossed, unable to break free of contractual chains, mirrors so much of what's tricky in today's NBA: money, timing, fit, and leverage. The challenge? The Warriors aren't just negotiating for a player. They're wrestling with an identity. Are they sticking to the young posse stealing up to reclaim dominance, or pivoting, reshaping the roster at a cost that might fragment the locker room soul? And speaking of locker room, don't underestimate how much these rumblings ripple through player minds. Steph and Draymond, Warriors forged in playoff fire, how do they feel watching a front office play hardball over a young talent who could be their heir apparent? Draymond has always been the ultimate glue guy, the guy who keeps the chemistry in check when the world outside is spinning into chaos. But even his iron will isn't immune to the weight of uncertainty when a young talent like Kuminga's minutes start to shrink or his future feels hazy. And we haven't even touched on Wiggins yet, who's been billed as the new defensive anchor and a low-key force on offense. Does he benefit or suffer if Kuminga's traded? Can the Warriors ride a wave of veterans like Horford and dynamic veterans like Wiggins to another championship tilt while bleeding young blood through Moody and Kuminga? Or will this kind of subterfuge unsettle that fragile balance? And then there's Kerr, the master tactician, who's had to reinvent his playbook season after season, adapting from super team dominance to rebuilding and back again. When your starting lineups are in flux and the salary cap acts like a chokehold, the pressure mounts exponentially. I can almost hear the grind in Kerr's mind. Do I unleash Kuminga more, risk shaking up long-standing chemistry? Or do I keep the core steady, betting on Horford's savvy and Steph's magic to carry another run? If the Warriors front office fails to get this just right, it could not only cost the team wins, but fracture the locker room's morale, fragile ecosystem after the brutal playoff exit last year that still stings deep in Dub Nation's guts. Speaking of that playoff heartbreak, it's hard not to draw a line from that loss to all of this. From the dizzying heights of 5 straight finals appearances to now, it almost feels like watching a dynasty's body slowly wear down, the cracks forming between the glory days and an uncertain rebirth. The weight of a legacy hangs heavy, but can the Warriors fight back? Can a roster makeover anchored by savvy veterans, desperate young blood, and a master coach ignite that spark again? Look at the Western Conference, where the Suns are chasing yet another elusive ring, the Nuggets boasting a powerhouse built around Jokic, and those Mavericks and Lakers who are playing the most cutthroat games in the land. The Warriors are surrounded by hungry packs of contenders, each smelling blood, waiting to pounce if our front line stumbles. And with OKC's meteoric rise and Memphis lurking in the shadows, every decision made in the Golden State War Room isn't just about survival. It's about asserting dominance. Could Kuminga be that X factor to tilt the balance? Or will trading him away become a regret that haunts the team for years? When you weigh the potential versus the risk, it's a monstrous pressure cooker. But what's stoking the fire even more is the role of Al Horford, the veteran big, whispering uncertainty and opportunity in equal measure, an older head who could either stabilize the fragile frontcourt with brains and grit or become a cap-clogging afterthought, distracting from the team's explosive pace. Is signing Horford a masterstroke or a crutch? The Celtics are dangling tantalizing options, the Lakers circling like vultures, and the Warriors are pushing aggressively, which tells me this isn't just about filling a spot. It's about finding the foundation for a new era. And amidst all these swirling rumors, whispered offers, and deadlocked sign-and-trade talks, the media noise swirling around the NBA paints this as a silent war or war where patience might be king, but impatience is the poison. I know too well the pain of waiting, praying for one final run while the clock ticks and the roster ages. I've screamed for Baron Davis in '07, felt my heart crack as Clay limped through agony in '22, and watched Steph shatter limits with the cold fury of a champion repeatedly reborn. This Kuminga trade tension, this roster chess, this delicate dance of emerging youth and veteran savvy, it all feels like the gateway to a new chapter of our story. Will that chapter be written in triumph or heartbreak? Because in the shadow of those bright banners hanging from the rafters, every move now carries seismic weight. And the fans? We live and breathe every moment like it's Game 7 in the conference. Finals a heartbeat away from immortality or oblivion. So here's the bottom line. This standoff between Dunleavy and Perry, the gnarled contract negotiations, the front office brinkmanship, all form the crucible that will define the Warriors. Next shot at glory. It's raw, it's ruthless, and it's thrilling. Does Dub Nation get to witness one last championship run led by a supercharged, hungry omniscient Steph, balanced by nimble Kuminga, gritty Draymond, and a Horford-powered frontcourt? Or is this the moment the dynasty's aura fades, giving way to rebuild rumors, draft picks, and a new generation wielding the torch? My gut tells me this isn't the end. I feel the fire beneath the smoke. The Warriors are breathing, scheming, waiting for that perfect strike. Like a rollerblading assassin poised to peel back the court and drop three after three, this front office knows how to play the long game. The stakes couldn't be higher, the pressure more suffocating, but the promise? Oh, the promise still glows, fierce and bright. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you're seeing behind these trade rumors, what your heart says about Kuminga's future, Horford's fit, and where Dub Nation's soul rests. Is this the dawn of a new dynasty or the twilight of an era? No filters, no holding back. I'm right here, riding this wave with you. Every raw, unfiltered take counts, so let it. R.I.P.